Let's throw some in now that where we have negative numbers. So negative 6 equals x over 5. Negative 6 equals x over 5. Oops. Let's try that again. Now, negative 6 times x equals 5. We want to isolate x. Typically, it's nice to have x on the left side, so we're going to do a little, nothing complicated here. We're just going to put x equals 5 on the left side. I typically like to do that. You don't have to. You could leave it there, but I like having x on the left. So, we have x over 5, which is really, by the way, is really 1/5 times x is equal to negative 6. Remember that this and this are the same. So if we have 1/5 times x equals negative 6, don't forget we want to isolate the x on this side, so it just says x equal, right? We're always trying to get x alone equals blah, 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 blah. You can see that x is alone here. So what we're going to continue to do here, we have a 5 here, and if we multiply this side by 5, as long as we do the same thing to that, we maintain the integrity of the equation. And we can cancel this out. X, we get left alone x equals negative 6 times 5 is 30. Simple one, but it's always good to check. Let's check the left side equals. Well, in this case, negative 6. Right side equals 30 over 5, which equals 2. Forgot the negative there. So we get right side equals negative 6, left side equals right side. Beauty. You're done. So here's one fraction, and we've got two negatives. Now this is a good time to review the idea of when we multiply certain numbers that we actually, those strange things kind of seem to happen. So if you take a negative and you multiply it, a negative number and a negative, you get a positive number. If you multiply a negative and a positive, you get a negative. If you multiply a positive and a negative, you get a negative also. And when you multiply a positive and a positive, you still get a positive. Nothing changes there. So that's something you need to understand and memorize as soon as possible. So once we have that out of the way, we can get to our equation and solve it. So we have a negative 3 here. If we multiply this side by negative 3, as long as we do it to the right side, maintain integrity of the equation, and we can cancel these. We get x equals negative 3 squared, which is positive 9. And it's always good to check your answer into the original question. So left side was x over negative 3, which is equal to 9 over negative 3, which is equal to negative 3. Your right side originally was just negative 3. You can see that they are equal. Left side equals right side. So we are all okay. Let's try something a little more complicated. Just a little more. Y divided by 6 plus 4 equals 7. People panic. They start saying a lot of stuff over here, but you still apply the same things. First, we're going to do some simplification, because we can simplify and we're going to isolate also. So what I mean by that is we're going to put this 4 on that side by subtracting 4 from each side. Y over 6 plus 4. I'm going to subtract 4 from the left side. which means I subtract 4 from that side. So y divided by 6 equals 3. Again, here we have the fraction issue. If I take a 6 and I multiply this side, and I take a 6 and I multiply on that side, equation integrity maintained, and we can cancel these out. We get y equals 6 times 3 is 18. Of course, you can check. You should actually here, 18 divided by 6 plus 4 equals the left side, which is therefore 3 plus 4 is equal to left side. Left side equals 7. Then right side is 7. Therefore, left side equals right side. Great. So we have something a little different here. We have a decimal number. Now, a decimal number can always be translated into a fraction if you prefer. We know that 0.5 is equal to a half. So you can leave it like that. Let's do that. Or you can actually leave it as 0.5. I think that's a better one because I've already shown you one sum with fractions. So let's try now leaving it as a decimal. We want to simplify, of course. Simplify and isolate. That's the goal of all of these. Simplify, isolate. So let's get that to that side. 0.5x is equal to 5 minus 11. What we did is really we subtracted 11 here, and we subtracted 11 on the right side. So we get 0.5x equals negative 6. Whatever we do to the right side, we do to the left side. So I'm going to multiply the left side by 1 over 0.5. I'm going to put that all in brackets so that we remember that's a decimal. This is not a decimal, by the way, it's a multiplication sign. Equals negative 6. Don't forget the negative 6. A lot of people forget the negatives, and that's the end of that. This, of course, cancels out because this over this is 1. 1 times anything is that. X equals, oh, we forgot to multiply this side. See what happens when you get distracted? Multiply that side by 1.5. So x equals negative 6 divided by 0.5. Now you can plug that into your calculator, or you can say, well, negative 6, we said 0.5 is a half, divided by a half. The rule is that whenever we divide by fraction, we multiply by reciprocal, which is just the inverse of this. So negative 6 divided by a half is really negative 6 times 2 over 1, which is the reciprocal of 1/2, which gives us negative 12. Of course, plug this into your equation. It should be fine.